It's 7:42 in the morning. Your alarm has already gone off twice. You're awake, but you're just lying there, staring at the ceiling. Nothing terrible is happening. You have plans. You even have things you once cared about. But the thought of trying again, trying to do it right, trying to keep up, trying not to fall behind, already feels heavy. And the question quietly forms, why am I so tired of trying? This isn't about sleep. It's not the kind of tired that a weekend fixes. It's more like a steady drain that shows up before you even begin. What you may be experiencing is an exhaustion pattern, a cycle where effort feels bigger than the result, and starting feels harder each time. In this video, I want to slow down and name what that pattern can look like, why it builds up, and a couple of small ways to move inside it without pushing yourself harder. Exhaustion like this is when the act of trying starts to feel more draining than not trying at all. You're not lazy. You're not incapable. It's that your mind has started linking effort with pressure, risk, or disappointment, so even small tasks feel like uphill climbs. One common reason is that you've been operating in prove-it mode for longer than you realize. Maybe you've been trying to prove you're reliable, capable, strong, easy to work with. Maybe you've been the one who holds things together, who doesn't complain, who figures it out. Over time, effort stops being just effort, it becomes a test. Every email, every conversation, every small choice feels like it says something about you. So of course you're tired. When trying feels like performing, your body never fully rests. There's also a quieter reason that often sits underneath. Sometimes, it comes from putting an effort before and not seeing it matter the way you hoped. You tried to fix a situation, and it didn't change. You worked hard, and no one noticed. You opened up, and the response felt flat. When this happens a few times, your system learns something subtle: trying doesn't guarantee relief. So now, before you begin, there's a quiet voice asking, what's the point? This can take shape when your life has slowly filled with small, constant demands. Not dramatic ones. Just steady ones. Messages to answer. Bills to track. Plans to coordinate. Decisions to make. Even good things, friends, opportunities, goals, add to the mental load. When your mind doesn't get space to reset, even meaningful effort can start to feel like too much. It's not that you don't care. It's that your capacity has been stretched thin for a while. Picture this. It's late, around 11:40 at night. The house is quiet. You're sitting on the couch with your phone in your hand. Earlier today, you thought about starting something new. Maybe applying for a role, signing up for a class, reaching out to someone. Nothing huge. Just a step. You open the website. You scroll. You read the details. Your chest feels slightly tight. You imagine the work it would take, the possibility of being ignored, the chance of getting it wrong. You tell yourself you'll think about it tomorrow. If you've been there, you're not strange. You might know someone who lives like this. This is what an exhaustion pattern can look like. It doesn't scream. It just quietly links effort with depletion. So you delay, not because you don't want the thing, but because you don't want the weight that comes with trying. When you're inside this pattern, your mind often asks one question: is this worth the energy? And sometimes that question isn't about the task. It's about your history with effort. One gentle shift can start with shrinking the meaning of trying. Right now, trying might feel like committing fully, pushing hard, proving something. But it can also mean a 5-minute start. It can mean opening the document without promising to finish. It can mean drafting a message without sending it yet. When you lower the emotional stakes, your body doesn't brace as much. You're not signing up for a marathon. You're just taking one step on the sidewalk. This works because exhaustion patterns often respond to pressure, not to effort itself. When the pressure softens, the resistance may soften too. You might still feel tired, but not frozen. Another small thing is separating outcome from identity. When something doesn't work out, it's easy for your mind to fold that into who you are. I tried, and it failed. So maybe I fail. Instead, you can experiment with a quieter sentence: I tried, and that result happened. That's it. No big story. No permanent label. You could even write it down in simple terms. What you attempted. What happened. What you knew at the time. 3 short lines. Nothing dramatic. Over time, this can show your mind that effort and identity are not the same thing. You can try without putting yourself on trial. Because sometimes, being tired of trying isn't about weakness. It's about self-protection. If effort has felt expensive, emotionally, mentally, socially, your system may be conserving energy. It may be saying, let's not invest where we're not sure we'll be safe. And that makes sense. It's not dramatic. It's careful. But there's a difference between resting and withdrawing from your own life. Resting refills you. Withdrawing shrinks you. And when you're tired of trying, the line between those two can blur. You might skip opportunities that actually matter to you. You might stay quiet in conversations where you have something real to say. You might tell yourself it's fine, it's easier this way. And sometimes it is. But sometimes there's a quiet ache underneath, a sense that you're watching your own life from a small distance. That ache doesn't mean you're failing. It means you still care. Exhaustion patterns often show up in people who care deeply. People who have standards. People who want to do things well. It's not the absence of effort that defines them. It's the weight attached to it. If that's you, this is for people who look steady on the outside but feel worn down on the inside. For people who keep showing up, even when it feels heavier each time. For people who wonder why simple steps now require so much convincing. You're not broken for feeling this way. You may just be tired of carrying effort as a measure of your worth. Trying doesn't have to mean proving. It can mean exploring. It can mean practicing. It can mean allowing something to be imperfect and still yours. You don't have to solve the whole pattern at once. Sometimes noticing it is enough to loosen it slightly. Sometimes naming it, exhaustion pattern, tired of trying, is the first bit of space you've had in a while. And maybe tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off and the ceiling feels heavy again, you won't force yourself into big motivation. Maybe you'll just choose one small thing that feels manageable. Not to fix your life. Not to transform who you are. Just to stay in it. Because being tired of trying doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It may just mean you've been caring in a way that costs too much. And that's something you can see more clearly now. If this felt familiar, you're welcome to stay here for more quiet explanations like this, one pattern at a time.